The People's Democratic Party, the PDP, has slammed the presidency and leaders of the All Progressives Congress, the APC, over what it calls the president and party leadership inability to accept constructive criticism of the government. The party's National Publicity Secretary, Chief Olisa Metu, in a statement said it was unfortunate that the APC and its leaders, who gleefully and unjustifiably poured invectives on former President Goodluck Jonathan in the guise of playing the role of an opposition party, would not want to condone criticisms. Mr. Metu also said, quote, "Unlike the APC that criticized the office and person of former President Jonathan by wrongly depicting him as clueless and incompetent, the PDP remains the most decent, mature and constructive opposition party in our democracy, and we have evidenced great respect for the person and exalted office of President Muhammadu Buhari." He notes that the PDP is a very responsible opposition party with mature leaders who have demonstrated so in their critique of the president's responses during the maiden presidential media charge, which they say have reviewed and concluded that it was uninspiring. Anambra State Governor Mr. Willie Obiano has led members of his family and the State Executive Council in a Thanksgiving Mass at his hometown in Aguleri in appreciation to God for a successful year ending. Governor Obiano says that there is need for the state to be happy, especially that the Christmas was spent in a peaceful and secured atmosphere, despite the gas explosion incident which attempted to steal the joy of the people. He says greater achievements will take place in the new year and urged the people to continue to give their support.
This is a special Thanksgiving service. And in attendance are the Governor of Anambra State, his wife and members of his cabinet. 2015 is out and it's time to seek God's guidance in the new year. The lesson for the homily is read by a member of the state's cabinet and the sermon delivered by Reverend Father Michael Monwe, who stressed the need for leaders to see their positions as a call to service.
Whatever God chooses you in any position, you are a cleaner, you are a bookkeeper, you are a religious, you are a priest, you are a political figure, whatever, God has chosen you in that particular place because He wants you to do something. And it's only when you realize the mission, when you realize the purpose for which God has put you in a particular place, only then can you perform creditably well to the advancement of God's kingdom on earth.
Prayers for the nation, for the state and for leaders came next, with the State Commissioner for Information praying for the state and the governor.
At the end of the day, our state will be a state to be reckoned with, and our state will be a state that will be recognized throughout the entire universe. We pray thee, O Lord.
For Governor Willie Obiano, there are no words for the day except thanksgiving to God for all he has done.
I'm very happy to welcome you to this auditorium on a Thanksgiving Mass. This is a Thanksgiving Mass to thank God for closing the year well and pray to God to guide us in the coming year so that we can achieve more for the state.
The State Executive Council as well as indigents will be looking forward to effective governance that will impact on the state and its citizens in 2016.
From you. It's not my fault. It's not my fault.
Nigeria's communication medium became immensely boosted with the 2001 licensing of GSM operations in the country. With this came in an avalanche of information products in the market. Computers, laptops and mobile phones consequently flooded the Nigerian market, prompting the availability of computers and GSM villages across major cities in Nigeria. The flip side of the coin was, however, not favorable. In-came cyber criminals who took advantage of the vulnerable cyberspace to carry out financial crimes. Well, efforts by the police, the ICPC and EFCC and other financial law enforcement agencies to contain the crimes were hindered by the non-existence of a law that neither captures specifically cybercrime perpetrators nor prescribed punishment on offenders. The nation, however, heaved a huge sigh of relief when, on October the 24th, 2014, the Senate passed into law the long-awaited cybercrime bill. Now, while the presidential assent to the bill is being awaited, the question is, will the bill bring about a substantial reduction in cybercrimes? To have a broader understanding, I'm now being joined on the news at 10 by Remy Afon, the President, Cybersecurity Experts Association of Nigeria from the United Kingdom. I want to thank you so much indeed for joining us at this time. Now, the absence of cybercrime laws and the resultant effect has given Nigeria a pretty bad name in cyberspace. When the bill receives the President's assent, do you suppose its implementation will significantly reduce cybercrime?
Absolutely. The implementation will definitely reduce cybercrime in Nigeria, because if you look at the attack surface in Nigeria now, the cyber criminals are becoming more sophisticated in their attacks. The cybercrime law that has just been passed is definitely going to reduce the cybercrime in the country. But what is necessary now at the moment, one thing is to pass the law, the other thing is to equip the law enforcement agencies to be able to apprehend and prosecute the cyber criminals.
Now, let's take a closer look at the various types of cyber crimes, some of them to include cyber stealing, bullying, squitting, stalking, and even pornography. Which of these would you particularly say is practiced by criminally minded Nigerians?
The number one cyber crime in Nigeria is cyber theft, phishing, whereby they send emails purportedly to be from a legitimate organization to be able to steal credentials of people. We have seen recently where people are using malware to steal information from unsuspecting bank customers and be able to siphon money from their accounts. So I'm going to say cyber theft is the number one in Nigeria.
Interesting. And do you suppose that the punishment prescribed by the law is sufficient to serve as a deterrent?
As of now, the punishment should be sufficient, but as time goes on, that can be reviewed. Because for a crime relating to phishing, it's about 5 years imprisonment or 10 million naira fine, or both. So for now, that should be sufficient and should serve as kind of a deterrent to cyber criminals.
Are you also confident that the law will help stem the negative misconceptions, in quotes, about the Nigerian nation in the foreign media and the foreign community?
Yeah, if it's fully implemented, because Nigeria is being seen as a foreign country. In fact, when I was doing my master's in information security, is one of the things that we learn about, phishing, and they just made mention of Nigeria as a case study. But that's what we're trying to do now, to make sure that we change that negative, perception of Nigeria. So with this new cybercrime law that has been passed, then we should be able to let the world know that Nigeria is quite serious about cybercrime.
I'm looking at some of the developments around that. Do you think that there are sections of the law that needs to be reinforced?
Absolutely, there are sections of the law that need to be reinforced. For instance, there's a part of the law that says, in terms of outside law enforcement agencies that are assigned to actually apprehend and prosecute cyber criminals, it said all relevant agencies. There should be a particular body that will be assigned to that. There's a need for a cybercrime unit in Nigeria that will be assigned with that responsibility. Also, there's a place in the cybercrime law that talks about Cybercrime Advisory Council that has to be inaugurated as a matter of urgency by the government.
Mr. Remi Afon, I want to thank you so much indeed for talking to us on the News at 10. He is indeed the President, Cybersecurity Experts Association of Nigeria from the United Kingdom. Now for business news with Anwa Odo.
Hello and welcome to Business News. The value of unclaimed dividends in the Nigerian capital market has grown from about 70 billion naira to 90 billion naira. The Deputy Director Markets Development at the Securities and Exchange Commission, Mr. Henry Rowlands, revealed this on our weekend program Capital Markets. In order to reduce the growing rate of unclaimed dividends in Nigeria, Mr. Rowland asks investors to take advantage of the 90-day free window electronic dividend registration of the Commission.
It started running with effect from December 14, 2015, and it's expected to run for 90 days, about 3 months. So somewhere in the month of March, it will still be active, free. Thereafter, about 100 naira becomes chargeable to every investor's account. So our plea from the Securities and Exchange Commission and the stakeholders is that all investors should take advantage of this 90-day window, because the importance of it to us, and indeed to the Nigerian economy and to all stakeholders, that if I will quote directly the desk officer monitoring unclaimed dividends, for instance, as at the third quarter ended September 30th, okay, the unclaimed dividends figure stood at 90 billion.
Really?
Really. Quoting him verbatim, stood at about 90 billion. Now, the implication is that dividends will continue to be declared. So once this electronic registration is taken seriously by investors, it is expected that within 6 months after its full commencement, that at least such figures will have.
The director in the Monetary Policy Department of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Moses Tule, says the restriction placed on ATM cards abroad is as a result of its abuse by the end users. He said this earlier today on our weekend breakfast show, Sunrise Saturday.
Debit cards were supposed to be used for BTA, just very small transactions. You're talking about $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 at the maximum. And as we have said and given indications severally, this window that came as a result of the growth of the financial system has been variously abused by users of this card. And at a time when the country is facing crisis in the oil market, I think it is only proper that all hands have to be on deck so that we together can weather the storm. It is in our collective action as end users of foreign nations and as economic agents that we will be able to go through this difficult. And we are not the only country going through. Several other countries are going through this difficulty, especially commodity exporting countries.
And financial markets around the world will reopen on Monday, January the 4th, after the public holiday to mark the new year. Here in Nigeria, the interbank foreign exchange market, which was shut down a few days ago before Christmas, will resume on Monday. The closure of the market before Christmas is a norm in the banking sector. Traders expect the naira to trade flat on both the parallel and official markets next week on weak dollar demand, and as businesses gradually wind down operations to prepare their books for their financial year ending. The naira closed little changed against the dollar on both the parallel and the official markets, and that was on Thursday. The Nigerian Stock Exchange will also resume trading on Monday. The market indicators ended the year 2015 on a very high note as the all-share index and market capitalization appreciated by 6.59% and 6.62% to close at 28,642.25 and 9.85 trillion naira each. Authorities at the Nigerian Stock Exchange have released changes in various sectorial indices in the market, while this new arrangement shows the movement of incoming and outgoing stocks in most of these indices. Under the NSE 30 index, Fidelity Bank PLC, Total Nigeria PLC and GlaxoSmithKline Consumer PLC are incoming stocks, while UAC Nigeria PLC, FCMB Group PLC and Cadbury Nigeria PLC are the exiting index. For the NSE Pension Index, Cadbury Nigeria, GSK, Julius Berger, Seplat Petroleum Development Company and Better Glass are incoming stocks. Outgoing stocks include Wema Bank, Union Bank, Honeywell Flour Mill, UACN Property and EcoBank Transnational Incorporated. Meanwhile, there were no changes in the NSE Banking Index, NSE Consumer Goods Index, NSE Industrial Goods Index and NSE Oil and Gas Index. And it's a wrap on business news for tonight. Thank you for watching. I am Anne Nwawadu. The rest of the news at 10 continues with Gimba.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Nigeria's home-based Super Eagles arrive in South Africa as final phase of preparations for the 2016 AFCON National Championship begins. That's the sports news. Do stay with us.